The Spire challenged me today to take a card at every card reward screen. I ended up with a massive 40 card deck that actually managed to steamroll a lot of the fights, and others, well, we'll get to that. I ended up taking Mayhem of all things as my starting bonus reward, and it's really not that bad of a card through Act 1. It can really carry you through a lot of these fights. The issue with Mayhem is when you start picking cards like Fiendfire, because then you're not going to be able to target and play the cards when you actually need to, and you could end up, exhausting the wrong things. So it becomes really conditional, but it does carry really well at the beginning of the game. Planning for such a huge deck means I need to find cards that can manipulate cards in hand, like Headbutt. I need to find cards that can do massive amounts of damage at once, like Heavy Blade. And I also need to find cards that are going to exhaust a lot of other cards in my hand. I managed to find a lot of great relics early on that generate energy and allow for more card manipulation. I also found a Demon Form and Fiendfire in Act 1. So going into the Act 1 boss gauntlet, you can see that there's really not a whole lot of issues I'm going to have taking out the slime in just a few turns. Slime boss gave us some excellent rewards here. Typically Feed is going to be an auto pick at the end of Act 1. And it probably would have still been the best choice here, but I did end up going with Barricade since I'm looking to build an exhaust deck, so I'm hoping to find a Feel No Pain and a Corruption. And it doesn't matter how long it takes me to get through the deck, because I'll just have so much block that nothing can stop me. I was torn between taking Sacred Bark and Sozu for my relic choice. The extra energies from Sozu would have really helped, but for how much I'm going to be relying on random draw to get me through these fights with how huge the deck is going to get, I ended up taking the Sacred Bark, and we're going to rely a lot more on potions. And Sacred Bark is the exact reason why I held on to the fruit juice up here, because now whenever I drink it, I'm going to gain plus 10 max health, and I'm going to get 10 more usable health, as opposed to just 5 if I had drank it when I immediately picked it up. Going into Act 2, things are looking pretty confident with a lot of good elite fights, so go ahead and write caw down in the comments section. If you did that, you're clearly enjoying yourself, so subscribe. I was immediately rewarded in Act 2 when the Vagrant gave me Nunchaku for even more energy generation since I'm playing so many attacks. And the Ritual Dagger was super tempting, but it's another one of those situational cards, and there's no guarantee I was going to be able to get it on every run, so I just took the extra gold into this shop here. I was able to get the Toy Ornithopter for some more synergy with my potion build, and I was able to get Immolate and do another card remove as well. After dispatching the Book of Stabbing, we get the Red Skull, which is going to give me even more strength, and I found Dark Embrace to really get my exhaust engine online. Up next we had a Slaver's fight. I used a double duplication potion on turn 1 to take down the Red Slaver in the back, and then I was able to take down both of the others on turn 2, and I got a Headbutt as a reward, which is really going to once again help me pull the cards back into my draw pile as I need them. A little bit of overconfidence and some bad draw led to me panic drinking my fruit juice against the Gremlin leader, but as usual Fiendfire came through and I was rewarded with a Paper Frog to deal even more damage to vulnerable enemies. And another second win to exhaust more cards that I don't need and to build more block. Finding a turn 1 Demon Form on the Bronzed Automaton fight is really helpful here, so starting out with a 3 extra strength from the Flame. I really just need to stall until I can find Heavy Blade and just end the fight. This did end up being quite a bit closer than I wanted it to be, because I used Fiendfire at the wrong time and deleted some cards that I really needed here, but it ended up working out in the end. And the Bronze Automaton did give us Corruption, which is really one of the last pieces we need. Now I just need to Feel No Pain, hopefully we can find in Act 3. Choosing between Coffee Dripper and Fusion Hammer as my relics here, really need that 4th energy. Based on the amount of times I had to rest though, I decided to go with the Fusion Hammer and forego any further upgrades. Going into Act 3, I had to use a bad Fiendfire against the Spaghetti Monster just to avoid getting cursed. I had to end up wasting one of my potions so that I wouldn't take 48 health. A few more fights in, and I really started regretting all the extra cards I had to take, especially when I was given rewards that really weren't going to help anything at all. After getting a free defend remove, I had to fight another Spaghetti Monster, but I did end up getting the much needed Feel No Pain to complete the block engine, which was going to be absolutely crucial if I end up making it to the heart. Destroyed the giant head, and then we get to move on to the Awakened one. This deck really doesn't work without most of the powers in play, so I did have to go ahead and play all of them to buff them up, and I really had to just hope here that I could build up enough block to stall until I had enough strength to win. Which with Demon Form in play really was helpful. With Demon Form, Barricade, and Corruption in play, I really just didn't have any trouble at all. Took out the Awakened one. Act 4 shop gave me Clockwork Souvenir, which gives you 1 artifact at the beginning of combat, which is excellent against the heart. It's also really good when you have a strength or a dex potion, because in this case, since we had Sacred Bark, it got doubled, and we can make that stay for the whole combat. After taking out the shield and the spear, here's the deck going into the heart fight. I did decide to use the Flex Potion on turn 1 and waste the artifact to get 10 strength for the whole fight, rather than save it for this debuff here. I got lucky going to phase 2 that the heart decided to use the big hit on the turn where I didn't have any block. I had to use my Fairy in a Bottle here. Once again, when I had the Sacred Bark, I revived up to 60 health, and had managed to just scrape out enough to block on this turn. I finally built up enough block that I could just focus on Body Slam and Heavy Blade, and the heart was defeated. Thanks for watching.